Hello everybody, it's me, Mr. Chan. If you're watching this video, it means that I'm dead. Dead tired from flying all the way to Japan. But seriously, I'm not here. I'm long gone. I'm on the other side of the world. But I've left you in very capable hands. And I've recorded some of my lessons onto video so you can watch them in class. Now, I am expecting you, every one of you, to be on your best behavior. I'm going to be back in 2 weeks. So, until then, let's get some work done. Especially you. Okay, let's get started here. So, we've learned about the sine law and how to use it. We've learned about the cosine law and how to use it. But up until now, we've pretty much kind of held your hand through the whole thing. You're in the sine law section of the textbook. You're going to use the sine law for all of these questions. When you're on the cosine law section in the textbook, you know you're going to use the cosine law for all of those questions. So what do you do if you're given some triangle, you've given some measurements, and you're asked to find a piece? How do you know if you should use the sine law or the cosine law? Well, I'm going to show you today. So let's take a look at the sine law. The sine law says that the sine of big A over little a is equal to the sine of big B over little b. And now let's take a look at the pieces that are going to be filled in. So for this, we need angle A, and we need the side little a that's across from it. Okay, so we're going to fill that in on the left side. On the right side, we need an angle we call B, and we need the side that's across from it. So to use the sine law, we need these angle and side pairs where they're across from each other. In fact, we need two of those pairs. One for the left side of the equation and one for the right side of the equation. So let's put that in writing. To use the sine law, we need angle and side pairs that are across from each other. Okay. And then I'll add a little note here that one of these side or angles can be missing. So the idea is if you know big A and you know little a and you know big B, little b can be missing and you can use a sine law to find it. So that's how we use a sine law. We take a look and see, do I have two sets of pairs of these angle and side pairs that are across from each other? So that's how we know we can use the sine law. All right, let's take a look at the cosine law. So the cosine law says that a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine big A. And again, let's take a look at all the pieces that we need. We need big A and little a. And then we also need a b, a little b, and a little c. So with this, you notice that we have all three sides, right? We are working with all three sides plus an angle. So in order to figure out if we can use the cosine law or not, we need to take a look at all the pieces of information that we have and see, do I have all three sides and one of the angles? If so, you can use the cosine law. So here we go. Let's type this up. to use the cosine law, we need all three sides and an angle. Okay. Now, the angle can be missing. Meaning, if I know all three sides, I can find the missing angle. Okay? Remember that the placement matters, so you just have to move the A, B, or C shift those around depending on which angle is missing. The side, however, okay, so only the side where we know the angle across from it can be missing. So if we want to use the cosine law, and we know that in the cosine law equation, I need three sides and an angle. If one of those sides is missing, it can only be the side that is across from the angle that we know. And what I mean by that is if you take a look at the formula here, little a is equal to little a squared is equal to little b squared plus little c squared minus 2 little b little c cosine big A. See that big A there? That's the angle that we know, which means I can only use this equation to find the missing side if that missing side is little a. So let's take a look at a couple examples of triangles, and we'll see if you can figure out whether you should use the sine law or the cosine law. Okay. Now, in these examples, I'm not going to actually go through the whole calculation of finding the missing side. All we're going to do for now, at least in the notes, to keep things short, is figure out if we should use sine law or cosine law. By now, you can go back and take a look at your previous notes to figure out how to find that missing side using sine law or how to find that missing angle using cosine law. Right now, we just want to narrow down which law we should be using. All right, so our first example, we are going to look at this triangle. And we need to find x. So here's our triangle. So there's our triangle. Let's say we have this angle right here. It's 51 degrees. Let's say I have this side right here. It's 7 meters. And let's also say we have this side right here. It's 10 meters. And the x that I'm looking for is this one here. Okay. Now, let's gather up all the pieces of information that we have. Okay, we'll gather up all the measurements that we have, including the piece that I'm looking for. So, I am missing side x. Okay. But I do have the angle across from it. So that's an angle and side pair right there. Okay, so that's good. Do I have another angle and side pair? Because that's what I would need in order to use the sine law. Well, I have a side 10 here, but I don't have the angle across from it. I have the side 7 here, but I don't have the angle across from that either, and I have no way of finding those angles. So I can't use the sine law. But because I have these sides, I'm actually working with 3 sides and an angle. And the missing side that I'm looking for, I do have the angle across from it, which means that I can use the cosine law. See, the cosine law, we need all 3 sides and an angle. Okay, that's the situation we're in. Only the side where we know the angle across from it can be missing. That's perfect. That's what x is. It's across from the angle that we have. So this one, we will use the cosine law. All right. Let's take a look at another one. I'm just going to draw it. It'll be faster. There you go. Here's a triangle. Let's say this is 17 meters. This one is 18 meters. This is 7 meters. And I want you to find this angle right here. We'll call it big X. So we want to find this angle right here. All right, so I'm looking for angle X. I have the side across from it. Cool. That's an angle and side pair. Now let's check. Do I have another angle and side pair so I can use the sine law? Well, I have this 7-meter side, but no angle across from it. I have this 17-meter side, but no angle across from that either. And I have no way of finding these angles. So sine law is out the window. I can't use it. But I do have these two sides. So in total, I have 3 sides, and I'm missing an angle. Okay, that means I can use the cosine law. So if I have 3 sides and an angle, I can find that angle. So we will use the cosine law. Okay. And let's do one last example. Let's take a look at this one here. Let's say this is X. Let's say this is 81. This is 62. And let's say this is 11 meters. All right. So let's take a look at side X. That's what I'm looking for. Do I have the angle across from it? Notice how I'm always starting by looking to see if I have the piece across from it. I'm looking for side X. Do I have the angle across from it? I do not. Or do I? Because take a look. I have this 62-degree angle here. I have this 81-degree angle here. I have 2 out of these 3 angles in a triangle. So I can use 180 minus 81 minus 62 to find that angle. So yeah, I actually do have that angle. Okay, so I actually can find this angle. So I've got a side and I've got the angle across from it. All right. So do I have another angle and side pair to go along with it to use the sine law? And I see that I do. I have this angle along with this side. So I've got an angle and side pair with X and this angle down here. And I have another angle and side pair with the 81 and 11, which means that I can use the sine law. So we will use, the sine law for this one. And notice I'm kind of going through a process of elimination. I first check to see if I can use the sine law by looking for angle and side pairs. Then, if I can't, I then check to see if I can use a cosine law to see if I'm working with one angle and 3 sides. All right, so there is a worksheet for you guys to work on. Give it a shot, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.